Sister Wives, Chapter 8, Part 3. I never ever set out to hurt anyone. I've found that simply having a relationship with Cody hurt them. Anything he did for me had the potential of hurting them or making them jealous. I felt that if any kind of love or sweetness they saw Cody and me share made them threatened and upset, so they shut me out. There was a strange phenomenon that happened in our lifestyle. When you are struggling with jealousy and insecurities, you manage to transform your sister wife into some sort of monster. You began to believe that your sister wife harbors you ill will or intentionally means to harm you. From this paranoid perspective, real problems began to arise. Usually this paranoia springs from an insecurity about your relationship, not with your sister wife, but with your husband. Eventually I discovered that some of my sister wives were often angry with me not because of something I've done, but because they felt Cody loved me more than them, and this scared and threatened them. When I learned this, I tried my best to open a dialogue with whichever wife was struggling. By talking things out, I was able to gain a fuller perspective and realize their issues with me were really not personal. Often they struggle with me when they aren't feeling close enough to Cody, or when they are dealing with their own jealous or insecurities. I feel these things myself, and I have to work on dealing with my own insecurities and jealousies, and not blame my sister wives or Cody for them. I know having a great relationship with my sister wives has less to do with them and me, more to do with them and Cody. In order for me to develop the friendships with them I'd hoped and prayed for, I know that I need to promote their marriages, be a good friend, and help them through whatever struggles they may be having, and above all, support and love them. After all, we are all women working towards the same goal, the strength and stability of our family and our marriages. We all want the same thing, and we don't want to hurt each other. Despite this knowledge, insecurity, which is the constant pitfall of our lifestyle, rears its ugly head. Instead of acknowledging that we are working together, we want to make our family and friendships work. It can be tempting to think of your sister wife as the girl in high school who is fighting with you over your boyfriend. Figuring out how to navigate our relationships is tricky. Even though some of us were raised polygamous, we still grew up in a monogamous world. Aside from our mother's relationships with their sister wives, we don't really have much of a frame of reference for how to deal with the conflicts and jealousy that crop up. After all, we never see relationships like ours on television, in movies, or read about them in books. We have to navigate our situation plainly without a map or outside help. I completely understand why my sister wife can be jealous of my relationship with Cody. Our marriage is fresh and young. They may sometimes believe that he loves me more than he loves them because of this, but that simply isn't true. I know Cody loves Mary Janelle and Christine. I wouldn't respect him if he didn't. I wouldn't respect him otherwise, sorry. I know, however, the thing for Cody and my marriage in the long run will be for him to validate his other marriages and reaffirm his love for my sister wives. All our marriages go through high and low points, but he needs to commit to them, and they need him so they together they will work things out. This is a universal truth in all marriages, putting this or not. Although it's not always that simple. This is something I'm begging Cody, my sister wife, to do. I want all the relationships in our family to be successful. When things become difficult between me and my sister wives, they have a tendency to block me out and not give me a voice. While they might be jealous of my relationship with Cody, I don't think they realize how often I'm confronted with the fact that they all share a history that I will never be a part of. They have a culture within their family that was long established before I came in. They have stories, jokes, struggles, and triumphs that are simply off limits to me. Sometimes it can be hurtful to know that although I'm married to Cody as they are, I will never be deeply entrenched in the family's history. I will always be the new kid on the block. Sometimes it's challenging to speak and ask my wives to make room for me in their world. I have been in relationships in the past where I've been steamrolled. After this happened, I made a promise that I would always stand up for myself. Since my sister has had developed such a solid and preordained way of doing things before I arrived, there was a tendency to brush off my suggestions. I had to tell them that I deserve a voice in the family too. How, ever since I wasn't around for this for 16 years, my ideas and concerns got often downplayed. During the first few months of first few months in the family, I would listen to family discussions while my sister wives and Cody would get angry with one another. I tried to suggest that there was a more constructive way of arguing, a safer, calmer way. I know from experience how much damage can be done when you don't have control of your anger and frustration. But the family pretty much told me that they had their own way of doing things. Eventually, I showed them through example how to talk things out reasonably. Now I'm often asked to help mediate family talks. My sister wives will sometimes try to mother me. I feel like I'm the sister wife. I have to remind my sister wife that I survived both difficult marriage and several years of single motherhood on my own. I'm strong and independent. While I'm grateful for their advice, I don't need it. Always need it. We are still in the process of blending our families. This had taken a great deal of patience. Before I arrived, the Brown family had their own way of running things, which is slightly different from mine. Since they have so many children, they cannot handle all the discrepancies that arise. They have a saying, if you are not bleeding, don't tattle. For the most part, they leave their children to work out their own problems. I'm very emotionally sensitive to those around me, which makes it difficult to turn my back on the smallest issue between two of our kids. Even the slightest disagreement arises, I want to get to the root of it. I want to sit with the children down and talk it through, get the source of the problem and solve it, instead of telling the children to go work something out on their own. It's my instinct to mediate. It is in my nature to be emotionally in tune with everything around me, both bad and good.